Today's tutorial is for my second video in my scrap busting series. I'm using all prints from the Emporium, which are all going to be on pre-order right now. On my first video, I made a pouch from Sincerely Gem Patterns. This is going to be a pouch that I've made several times. I actually have a full tutorial on this one already on my channel, but I thought it would be a great one to revisit because it's so fun, quick. It turns out really cute, and it definitely is a great scrap buster. This pattern has a couple different names. At one point it was on a blog, and that's where I found it, and it was called one thing, and then when she switched, the designer switched to Etsy, she just really called it a project pouch. I'm going to leave the link for the pattern in my description. I think it's about $6.50, so not a very expensive pattern. And I feel like it's easily adjustable for different sizes depending on the scraps and things you have in your stash. The biggest piece you will need to cut is the back piece. You'll have one back exterior, one lining. All of my prints are a cotton woven except for one piece of a jelly vinyl. On the cotton woven pieces, all I have is a SF101 on all of them. So this is the largest piece, the back. I'm going to have this set up the way it's going to look at the end. So we have a bottom, a top, some sides, the jelly in the middle, zipper, and a top piece here. I may do a couple of things differently in my video versus the pattern, so definitely follow whichever version feels best for you. But this is the way I sew these. I make lots of these. I think they're just super cute pouches that come together quickly. So the first thing we'll do is we're going to build everything around this piece of jelly vinyl. You could also use a clear vinyl if you wanted to. We're going to start by adding the side pieces to this jelly vinyl. So you'll have two exterior side pieces, two lining side pieces. If your print's directional, make sure you have it situated the right way, but here is the way the jelly vinyl and the exterior will look, and then you'll just flip that exterior piece over so you can sew down this side here. Since this is a small surface, I'm going to go ahead and add that lining piece and clip them together, and so I can sew it all together. This will be the same step for the other side, so we can do all this at once. After we have these sewn together, we'll just pull them apart and top stitch. Here it is with the exterior and the lining sewn right sides together with this jelly vinyl. I simply pull those apart and then I can top stitch. When you're top stitching, just make sure that everything stays lined up and that the lining or exterior doesn't tend to creep behind the jelly, so you have an even stitch all the way down. Now that you have the sides attached, go ahead and grab out your exterior bottom piece and your lining bottom piece. Orientate it in the way you want it to look at the end, and then just flip it up. Same way with the side pieces. Once you have the exterior and lining clipped right sides together with this jelly vinyl sandwiched in between, go ahead and sew all the way down that edge. If you're feeling uncomfortable with sewing these all three layers at once, you could definitely baste them. Lots of times I do. I'm just feeling a little bit in a hurry tonight. There's those bottom pieces sewn together. You're going to do the same thing. You're just going to pull them and top stitch. So pull them wrong sides together and then do a row of top stitching. If you want, you could go ahead and baste the bottoms together. So now let's go ahead and continue on with this piece with adding the top pieces. Have my top, flip it down, add the lining exactly the same way we did the bottom and the sides. I have both the exterior and the lining clipped together at the top. Now I'm going to sew across and top stitch just like I did with the other ones. Now that I have the top stitching done on this part, I'm going to go ahead and baste this top raw edge together. So I'm basting the exterior and the lining together all along there, just 1/8 of an inch. So here is the first place where I differ a little bit from the pattern. I'm not adding zipper tabs on my zipper. They are called for in the pattern. I'm using a nylon zipper tape, so it's easy to sew over. It's not going to add that much bulk or bonding around. I feel completely okay with that. Just note that if you want to add zipper tabs, you can do that. Make sure you follow the pattern measurements for cutting your zipper. Make sure you add your pull on there first. So this is a little bit different, but not a big deal either way you do it. So this is the way the zipper is going to go. You can see it here at the top. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to turn this to the back. So you can see the zipper is right sides together with that exterior. What I want is I want to sew this from this lining side so I can leave about a 1/16, not quite an 1/8 of an inch of zipper tape showing on the top. You can see how my lining's a little bit lower than that. The reason why is because this is a raw edge, and when I flip this down and top stitch, I want my zipper tape, the finished edge, to be what's showing. If you sew it where they're flush, it'll just be a little bit of a raw edge here showing. It's not going to be a big problem. I think it just looks neater this way. So have your zipper tape showing. Sew from your lining side and just slowly go across here. You're still going to use the full seam allowance, but your zipper tape is going to be at the seam allowance line, not your bag. Here's how this looks from the lining side. You can see that zipper poking out. When I flip this up to top stitch, I'm going to push that seam down and it hides the raw edge. You do see the zipper tape edge, but it's a finished edge and it won't unravel on this side, so you're okay there. I feel like this is the easiest way to do this. There is another way where you can fold down the raw edges of this top part, slip your zipper in, but this just makes it easy, and there's not going to be any issue with unraveling or your bag looking unfinished on the inside. So when you're sewing across here, you're going to be top stitching, so it's going to be 1/8 of an inch away, and you're going to make sure that seam stays under the whole way through. You'll have to kind of keep your finger there because it'll want to pop up, just so you can make sure you're sewing the bottom of the zipper down. This is how it looks from the back. You can see that you are able to see the stitches just like you would on any top stitching, but everything looks neat and it is a finished edge. The next thing we're going to do is add this top piece. So we're going to do it just like we did the other pieces where we have the zipper sandwiched. The exterior is right sides together with the zipper. So there's the exterior, right sides together with the exterior and the zipper. Flip it over to the lining. And let's go ahead and put the lining right sides together with the lining and clip it in place. Just your typical zipper sandwich here. You can see I obviously did a very poor job of cutting. I sometimes rough cut things and forget to trim it up later. It's fine. I'll trim it up at the end. But what you're going to do now is you're going to pull those top pieces up and top stitch just the normal way we did the first time. So here's how this looks. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my zipper pull, and I'm going to go off camera and clean up all my edges, make sure that everything matches. I want this back piece to be the same size, whether I need to trim off the back or trim off the front. So I'm going to get everything squared up, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how we finish it up. Take your back exterior piece and I want you to flip it so that the right side is against your table and you're looking at the wrong side of that fabric. Then take out your lining back piece and lay it wrong sides together so that you're looking at the correct side of the lining. Then take out that front piece that we've just been working on. I have mine all trimmed up, everything straightened up, and I want you to lay it the lining side to the lining side so that you're looking at the exterior side. We're just going to add a few clips around here, and then we're going to baste this into place. You could definitely make the corners curved if you like that. I prefer mine straight. I just like that 90-degree angle, and I especially like it whenever I'm binding so I can miter the corners. I said I didn't quite get this trimmed up properly, so I'll have to trim that up before I bind. But for right now, I'm just going to baste these all together. So I'm going to use the 1/8 of an inch, and I'm just going to be making sure that while I'm sewing, I'm holding everything flat so that I get a really nice finish and there's no like puckering or bumps or anything on these edges. Here is the back exterior. Make sure that everything's sewn and attached. Here's your front. You can see those flowers peeking through, which is so cute. Now I'm going to add the binding. I cut out a piece of cotton woven. It's not cut on the bias, but it naturally has a little bit of stretch to it. I'm going to start at the bottom, and I'm just going to fold the raw edge back onto itself so that it's wrong sides together, but my binding is right sides together with the exterior. I cut my binding about 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches, and honestly I didn't do a very good job because it was the first cut off of this, and so the edges weren't straight, but I didn't worry too much. I know it'll be okay while I'm sewing it. I'm going to sew around with 1/4 inch seam allowance. For me, that's the perfect size of the stitch for the binding because I don't want a really wide binding. If you want a wider contrast binding around here, sew with 3/8 of an inch or 1/2 inch. It's whatever you want. So you'll start at the bottom and you'll just start sewing back stitch when you start. So here I am about 1/4 inch away from that corner. I'm going to back stitch here and then break my stitches, pick up the whole piece of binding, and then flip it back so that I'm looking at the right side of the binding. And I'm going to do two things. I'm going to make this edge straight here. Then I'm going to make this edge a 45-degree angle down to the corner. So let me move this over so you can see. 45-degree angle, straight edge. I'm going to use my fingers and hold right there against this edge and then flip the binding back over. And making sure now that the folded edge is in line with this side. I'm also going to make sure that it lines up here along the bottom. This is going to give me that perfect mitered corner. This might seem confusing at first if you've never done it, but I promise it's a great technique, so definitely try it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start sewing down here. This part will not be sewn on, it'll be left open, but we'll start sewing here. So back stitch here with that same 1/4 inch seam allowance and go all the way down to the other corner. Repeat those same steps for the subsequent corners. Now you can see I'm pretty close to where I started from. I'm just going to go a little bit past that starting spot, cut off the binding, and then I'm going to fold that edge back on itself. And what I really want is for these to butt up against each other. So you can see they're not overlapping, they're just butting up against themselves so that that will make a really nice finished edge without adding any extra bulk. Definitely back stitch there, take out all these clips. I have one spot I need to trim up on my binding. It was a little wide, and so I went over on purpose. Now that you have all the binding sewn on, what you need to do is you need to start flipping it over. So I'm going to come to this back side, and this is called a single fold binding. You can do whatever binding you prefer. It doesn't matter at all. If you have a preference of what kind you want to use, do that. So what you're going to do is you're going to have the raw edge, fold it down, and then fold again to where you just cover that row of stitches you just sewed. I'm going to do this all around, and then I will come back to show you how I do the corners, but it's basically you're just tucking them in, but I always do all the straight edges first, so I'll come back to show you the corners. So we're still looking at that back side. I have the binding clipped all the way around. I have one corner left that I want to show you how I do. So I'll make sure I clip all the straight sides, and then when you come to this corner, it kind of already wants to go the way you want it to. So you can see how it's already kind of folding under since I have the other sides folded under already. So then I just let that part go all the way to the edge, and then fold the other side back on itself, tucking in the raw edges to make that corner. If you get like a little pucker in there, you can just kind of pick it out, smooth it out. It's not a big deal, and it definitely won't show on the other side. Put your clip right in the corner to hold it flat. You're going to come over to the right side. This is the first time you're looking at your right side because you're clipping everything from the lining side. Look, make sure everything looks even. And then what you're going to do is you're going to be able to sew all the way around here with that same 1/4 inch seam allowance, and it should catch both sides perfectly. Doesn't matter where you start. You can start at the top or the bottom. We're coming up on that first corner, so I'm going to just slow down my stitching a little bit, take the clip out, but I'm going to keep sewing straight until my needle is between both layers on both sides of that corner. That's where the needle is, and then I will pivot so the stitch catches both of them. So here's how everything looks with the binding attached and my pouch completely finished. The pattern does tell you that you can add grommets here at the top if you want to use this in a binder, or if you want to add one to the side to use it as a carry, like a wristlet pouch. But I definitely don't feel like I need that. I use these for storage. I think they're so cute to put things in, especially if you are someone who's traveling or taking a bigger bag like a backpack. You can put things in here so you can keep them safe. You can use them for storage in your house, in your bathroom, wherever you want. I love these pouches, make lots of them. I think they're great gifts. I think they're great to sell at craft shows, just super cute. This print is available for pre-order now from the Emporium. I'm going to have the link for that. I'm also going to have the link for this pattern in my description also. Brittany also carries jelly vinyl, so if you're looking for some of it, you can check and see what she has available for retail. But this print is pre-order. The jelly vinyl is retail. She may have a couple other prints retail, but I'm not for sure. But this is just a really fun scrap busting pattern. I used very little materials. You can see how quickly it came together. Super easy, convenient, great for storage, and just great for a cute gift. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I have one more scrap busting video. I'm going to film it tomorrow, hopefully have it on my channel, maybe on Tuesday or Wednesday. But thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate the support, and everybody's been so kind with my Frugal Fridays and my scrap busting videos. I really appreciate the kind words. And if you have any suggestions for patterns you want me to sew up, just let me know. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.